Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting webinar hosted by Spain US Chamber of Commerce. And as always, it is a pleasure to gather experts from Spain and the US that are shaping the future of businesses. My name is Yarela Callejas, and I will be the moderator for today's session, host in collaboration with Razonable, a creative branding agency based in Madrid. Today's topic is especially relevant in a world where emotions and technology are more than connected than ever. Today's webinar title is How to Build Emotionally Authentic Brands in the Age of Artificial Intelligence. And for those that are joining us for the first time, let me briefly introduce the Spain US Chamber of Commerce. We are a non-profit organization dedicated to helping businesses expand into the United States through international consulting, events, networking opportunities, and educational programs. If you like to learn more about our upcoming activities or explore other webinars, we invite you to take a look on our website, www.spainuschamber.com, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just a quick note that this session will be recorded, so feel free to watch it again or pass it along to anyone who thinks this information could be beneficial. And at the end of the session, we will open a Q&A segment. So feel free to submit your questions at any time using the question tab that is located on the right side of your control panel. We would love to hear from you. Today, we are joined by Razonable, a creative branding and strategy agency based in Madrid. Razonable specializes in building brands with soul and purpose through emotional branding. Their work focuses in helping brands to create meaningful connections with their audience, relationships that make people feel the brand is part of their own identity. Joining us from Razonable, we have Luis Echánove. He is the founder and executive creative director. Luis has led high-impact branding projects for companies such as Vueling, NH Hotels, Repsol, Carrefour, MasterChef, and Lactalis. His strategic mindset, paired with a deep position of digital trends and emotional storytelling, makes him a standout figure in the world of brand design and experience. And we also have Javier Hernández, a highly experienced marketing and brand executive with extensive experience in organizations such as Televisión Española, Telecinco, Paramount and Nickelodeon, Michelin, and La Toja. Javier has extensive experience as a professor in different universities, such as EA University, CEU, and CENU, and he brings to Razonable highly analytic and emotional driving approach to audience engagement and brand strategy. Luis and Javier, it is a real pleasure to have you both with us today. And if you are ready, please start with your presentation.
Okay. So here we are. So we start talking about our experience with brands. Luis and I have spent our careers working closely with brands. Luis from the agency side and myself from within companies. These different perspectives have shaped the way we view branding, especially now, as we face the challenges and opportunities brought by artificial intelligence. Everybody now is talking about artificial intelligence as if it were anything new. But artificial intelligence has been with us since 1956, but it's now when it seems to be in full bloom affecting everybody's life. As branding experts, we know how it affects the relations between brands and its audience. Today, we are going to debate about the influence of the artificial intelligence emotional branding. This is the journey that we will take today. We will start with the heart. What is emotional branding? Why it is more relevant than ever, and what makes it so powerful? Then we will explore artificial intelligence role in branding, how it enables personalization, speed, and insight like never before. Next, we look at the risks of relying too heavily on automation and algorithms. Then, we will ask a key strategic question. Is artificial intelligence a threat or ally? Can it truly serve emotional branding? And finally, we will wrap with conclusions. Let's begin by unpackaging emotional branding. So the first thing that we are going to do is to explain the term emotional branding, because it is often misunderstood or oversimplified. When most people hear the term emotional branding, they think of ads that evoke emotion, such heartwarming commercials during the Super Bowl, or campaigns that tug at the heartstrings. Emotional branding is about creating systematic, consistent, meaningful connections between your brand and your customer values, aspirations, and identity. It's about understanding that people don't just buy products or services. It is more than a buzzword. It's a strategic imperative. Let's establish a clear working definition of emotional branding. This definition is going to help us to understand the discussion that we are going to have today. Emotional branding is a branding strategy focused on creating lasting emotional bonds with the audience. Let's unpack what that really means in practical terms. First, note that we refer lasting emotional bonds. This isn't about creating a momentary emotional spike that fades as soon as the ads end. We are talking about building enduring relationships that influence customer behavior over months and years. Second, and very important, these are bonds, not merely positive feelings. A bond implies reciprocity, commitment, and mutual value. When customers feel bonded to your brand, they don't just prefer you over competitors. Your audience encompasses everyone who may interact with your brand, including potential customers, current customers, employees, partners, and even critics. Emotional branding recognizes that every touchpoint sets brand perception. This approach extends far beyond traditional branding techniques, such as awareness or visibility. It reaches deeper into the values, experiences, and feelings. Why emotional branding is so powerful? Because emotional connections build what money cannot: loyalty. When people feel emotionally connected to a brand, they don't just buy more, they forgive more. They recommend it to others. In today's crowded marketplace, where product capability quality is often comparable among competitors, emotional engagement becomes your key differentiator. It enhances customer engagement, yes, but more importantly, it earns trust. And trust is the currency of modern branding.
So there are four foundational pillars of emotional branding. Let's start with shared values. Perhaps this is the most strategic lever of all. When people see their values reflected in your actions, that's when they truly commit. Second pillar would be storytelling. Stories are how we make sense of the world. Brands that tell meaningful stories embed themselves in people's memory. Empathy is the next one. Understanding your audience's fears, desires, and strugglers. And this helps to give a gateway to trust. And finally, authenticity. Authenticity is non-negotiable. People can smell fake from a mile away. Brands must be true to the purpose and voice. So what happens when you prioritize emotional branding? Let's talk impact. First, it leads to increased loyalty. People come back because they feel seen and heard. It also creates higher perceived value. Emotion adds meaning, and meaning adds worth. It fuels word of mouth. People share what they love. And finally, it creates resilience during crisis. Emotionally connected brands weather storms better. They've earned goodwill. And there's a data to back this up. According to Gerald Saltman, which is a Harvard Business School professor and an expert in consumer psychology, 95% of purchase decisions are driven by emotion, not by logic. Think about that. For all the time we spend crafting rational arguments for our products, we might be speaking to just 5% of the brain's decision-making process. That's why emotional branding is not a luxury. It's a necessity. One of the best-known examples of emotional branding is Dove's Real Beauty campaign, which was launched in 2004. In this campaign, instead of pushing product features like moisturizing power or ingredients or the price, Dove chose to speak to something much deeper: authentic self-worth. They featured real women of all ages, shapes, and skin tones, breaking away from the retouched and realistic beauty standards the industry had imposed for decades. What they achieved wasn't just differentiation, it was resonance. Women saw themselves reflected, not idealized. Dove gave them representation, not manipulation, and that created an emotional connection built on authenticity. That's emotional branding in its purest form, connecting a product to a deeper cultural conversation and giving people something to believe in, not just something to buy.
Okay, let's see another case that is going to help us to explain why emotions are important in purchase decision. This is the case of Patagonia. Patagonia doesn't just sell outdoor clothing, they sell activism. Their brand purpose is so deeply aligned with their values that every campaign, product, and even their business model reflects their environment commitment. They have donated 1% of sales to environment causes since 1985. They have run campaigns asking customers not to buy new jackets, but instead to repair their old ones. This radical transparency, a value-driven strategy, have only increased people loyalty. Their customers don't just wear the brand, they live it.
And of course, we can talk about emotional branding without mentioning Apple. Apple doesn't just sell tech. It sells identity, belonging, creativity, freedom. When you buy an Apple product, you are not just buying functionality, you are buying into an aspirational lifestyle. Their design is sleek, their advertising is minimal, but emotionally rich. Their stores feel more like temples than retail outlets, and their launch events are like concerts. They have created a tribe, and emotional branding is the glue. That tribe doesn't compare technical specifications. They just trust the brand. And that's the power of emotional resonance.
Well, that's the moment to talk about artificial intelligence. Now we are going to see how artificial intelligence is transforming the branding landscape. This is where our discussion becomes particularly relevant to current business challenges and opportunities. When most business leaders think about artificial intelligence in branding, they often focus on efficiency gains, automating tasks, reducing costs, and processing data faster. While these benefits are real and valuable, they represent only a fraction of artificial intelligence's potential impact on branding. Artificial intelligence and emotional branding are not opposing forces. Artificial intelligence contributes to branding in 5 major areas, each area representing a significant opportunity to enhance rather than replace emotional connections with customers. We are going to talk about predictive analytics, personalization, enhanced customer engagement, content generation, and brand monitoring and sentiment analysis. So now we are talking about predictive analytics. This is an AI's ability to analyze vast amounts of customer data to predict future behavior, preferences, and needs. But predictive analytics in brandings go far beyond simple purchase predictions. Advanced AI can predict emotional states, life stage transitions, and changing value priorities that influence brand preferences. Analyzing communication patterns, we can analyze communication patterns, content consumption, and behavioral changes. AI can predict when customers might be experiencing stress, excitement, frustration, or life transition that affect the relationship with brands.
One of the most transformative applications of AI in branding is personalization. We've moved from mass communication to mass customization. With AI, we can deliver unique, relevant experiences to every individual user. Whether it's personalized email subject lines, custom product recommendations, or dynamic website content, AI helps brands create the illusion of intimacy with millions. And why does this matter for emotional branding? Because relevance feels personal. And when a brand understands you, it earns your attention and eventually your trust.
So now we are talking about another AI's contribution to branding. AI is also enhancing real-time customer engagement, particularly through conversational tools such as chatbots and voice assistant. These tools can handle thousands of inquiries instantly, but when powered by emotional intelligence, they can do more than just answer questions. They can connect. A well-designed artificial intelligence assistant can interpret tone, detect frustration, or mirror positive emotion, adjusting its replies in ways that create a smoother, more human experience. This doesn't replace human interaction, but it can complement it, ensuring that brands remain responsive and available 24/7.
Regarding content generation, AI is also revolutionizing it. Today, AI tools can help generate articles, blog posts, product description, and copy, even scripts. This isn't about replacing writers, it's about augmenting them. So, imagine freeing up your creative team from repetitive tasks and allowing them to focus on strategy, emotion, and narrative design, while AI handles drafts, outlines, and adaptation for various channels. It's about acceleration, not automation. The goal is not to remove the human touch, but to empower it.
Finally, AI offers real-time insights into how people perceive our brands. We can analyze social media posts, reviews, forums, and customer feedback to detect emotional trends, joy, anger, trust, and disappointment. Emotion used to be difficult to measure. Now, with artificial intelligence, we can track it like never before. That's a breakthrough for emotional branding.
Let's look at how brands are applying AI in emotionally intelligent ways. Take Spotify's Discover Weekly feature. Every Monday, users receive a curated playlist based on their individual listening habits, and it feels like it was handpicked, yet it's entirely data-driven. Spotify's algorithm analyzes your previous behavior, musical tastes, and listening time, and then identifies patterns and similarities with millions of other users. But what really makes it powerful is how personal it feels. It's a playlist that understands your mood, your energy, your taste, and that emotional relevance creates loyalty. People don't just use Spotify, they form a bond with it. And that's AI enhancing emotional branding.
Another example is Netflix. All of us know Netflix has changed the way that we consume entertainment. When you open the app, you don't see a menu. Instead, you see a mirror. There is a dynamic feed of movies and shows tailored to your history, preference, and pace. It creates a personalized entertainment experience that keeps you coming back. Netflix's emotional success isn't just about great content. It's about the feeling that Netflix understands you and won't waste your time. That's the emotional payoff of effective recommendation engines. Convenience with personality.
And another example, let's talk about something more interactive, empathetic AI. Chatbots have evolved dramatically. It's no longer about robotic responses or keyword matching. Today's advanced AI assistants, like those from Wobot Health, Flow Health, or Giant, can detect emotional cues in your text. If someone expresses anxiety, these bots don't just say, "I'm sorry to hear that." They offer a resource, a human tone, a sense of presence. That's the magic. Even though the reply is artificial, the experience feels caring. That emotional tone turns a help desk interaction into a micro moment of connection. In health, in education, and in retail, these micro moments add up to meaningful brand perception. Now, while all of this sounds powerful, and it is, we must also acknowledge the risks, because technology without responsibility can quickly drift into territory that harms brand relationships rather than helps them. This next section is a critical reality check. What are the limitations of AI in branding? What can go wrong? What can it go wrong? And what happens when it does? So there are 5 core risk areas to consider. Data privacy. How and where you collect data matters more than ever. Over-reliance on automation. Without human oversight, brands lose nuance. Ethical considerations. AI can encode or amplify bias, often invisibly. Misinterpretation of data. AI can misread emotional or cultural context. Brand reputation risks. One bad AI interaction can go viral for all the wrong reasons. We are going to look now at each of these because understanding the limits is essential if we are to use it AI wisely. So let's begin with the most sensitive, data privacy. AI needs data to work, but that data often includes personal habits, behaviors, even biometrics. When customers give you data, they are not just giving you numbers, they are giving you trust. If that trust is broken, it can lead to backlash, regulation, and long-term damage to your brand. Remember, in emotional branding, trust is your most valuable currency. Protect it relentlessly.
While AI can enhance efficiency, an over-reliance on automated systems may lead to a lack of human touch in branding efforts. Automation is fast, scalable, and cost-effective, but the danger lies in using it as a substitute for human judgment rather than a support. Over-automated brands become cold and unfeeling, losing their empathy, and empathy is non-negotiable in emotional branding. Automation must serve a strategy, not replace it.
Regarding ethical considerations, AI is only as ethical as the data it's trained on, and as the human who designed it. Unfortunately, biases in data, gender, race, income, geography, can lead to skewed outputs that reinforce stereotypes or exclude certain groups. Brands must take responsibility for what their algorithms learn and unlearn. Ethical oversight isn't optional, it is essential. Because if your brand causes harm, even unintentionally, the emotional damage can be irreversible.
AI is great at patterns, but it's not great at meaning. What does mean? AI can produce insights that are misinterpreted or taken out of context. Brands must ensure that they have the expertise to analyze AI-generated data accurately and make informed decisions based on it. If you rely only on artificial intelligence to understand emotional signals, you risk misreading your audience and damaging the relationship instead of deepening it.
Other risk is about brand reputation. When a brand uses AI carelessly, the consequences can be immediate and viral. Imagine a chatbot responding inappropriately because it misunderstood sarcasm, or a recommendation engine that promotes insensitive content during a national tragedy. We've seen these things. In branding, reputation is built over years, but can be damaged in minutes, especially in today's world of screenshots, retweets, and cancel culture. So the message is clear. AI must not be left unchecked. Every use case must be guided by human review, ethical standards, and emotional intelligence. The overuse of AI can harm emotional branding in 4 critical ways. Generic content, for example. AI without a guidance produces similar outputs across brands. Emotional inconsistency. AI struggles with nuanced emotional tone across touchpoints. Dehumanization. Over-automation creates cold, mechanical brand experiences. And finally, cultural missteps. AI may miss cultural subtleties that humans naturally understand.
Okay, let's see a real-world case. YouTube's AI recommendation engine, designed to increase watch time, began suggesting extreme and misleading content. Can you imagine? Why? Because the algorithm prioritized engagement over ethics. The consequences were enormous: misinformation, radicalization, and public backlash. This is a classic case of what happens when AI is optimized for metrics but not meaning.
Another case, Amazon's biased hiring algorithm in 2018. The system was trained on past hiring data, which favored male applicants. So what did the AI learn? It began downgrading resumes that included words like women's or referenced all female colleagues. Amazon shut it down, but the damage was already done. This is what happens when AI inherits bias from its training data. And it shows how even internal tools can affect external brand perception, especially when fairness and inclusion are part of your values. In emotional branding, like in life, actions matter more than words.
Now we arrive at the central question that will determine the future success of your brand in an AI-driven world. The question is artificial intelligence a strategic ally or potential enemy for emotional branding? We believe the answer is yes, but only with intention, oversight, and values-led design. Let me establish the fundamental principle that should guide every decision you make about artificial intelligence in branding. Artificial intelligence as a tool doesn't replace strategic or human sensitivity. It enhances them when used correctly. This principle might seem obvious, but is violated more often than you might think. AI can be a powerful ally for emotional branding when it's strategically integrated with human insight and creativity. Strategic integration means that artificial intelligence and human capabilities are designed to work together.
So when you use AI properly, you can achieve significant advantages. For example, time efficiency. Campaigns are delivered faster and adapted quickly to performance insights. Precision targeting. AI allows us to speak directly to microsegments in real time. And finally, creative inspiration. By surfacing trends or gaps, AI can spark new ideas and formats. In short, AI gives us tools and emotional branding gives us truth. Combine the two, tools and truth, and you create magic. But none of that matters without strategic alignment. You must ask yourself, does this use of AI align with our brand purpose? Are our guidelines clear so AI reflects our tone and values? Do we have human oversight as key points of content and interaction? And most importantly, are we using AI to help us as a co-pilot or just to increase efficiency? Because if the soul is missing, the speed doesn't matter.
So now we are going to talk about the sweet spot. Sweet spot is the place where we want to be. A place where your brand's emotional intelligence and your artificial intelligence, operational intelligence intersect. On one side, you have feelings, intuition, cultural understanding, human storytelling. On the other, speed, scale, partner recognition, optimization. Together, they can create brilliant human brands that are also smart, responsive, and future-ready. However, it takes intention to find that balance.
So to ensure you're staying in that sweet spot Javier is mentioning, ask yourself these questions regularly. Does our brand have a clear human emotional voice? Is it consistent across platforms, even when automated?
Are we using AI to enhance connection or just to reduce cost? Remember, connection drives loyalty. Cost cutting doesn't.
Is our AI strategy aligned with our brand purpose? A tool without purpose is just noise.
Another question. Do we have the right human oversight in place? If something goes wrong, who corrects it? These questions aren't just strategic. They are protective. They safeguard your brand's soul.
So we are now in the final stretch. Let's tie it all together.
Yeah.
AI is a remarkable tool, but it is just a tool. It can help you listen faster, respond faster, create faster, be smarter, but it cannot love your customer. It can't feel your values. It can't tell your story unless you first know what story you want to tell. So use AI boldly, and always use it on purpose.
Okay, another conclusion. When guided by clear brand strategy, artificial intelligence amplifies emotional impact. It needs human direction to maintain authenticity. The right approach multiplies your team's creative capacity. Branding doesn't begin with technology, even we are talking about artificial intelligence. It begins with truth. Your mission, values, and identity should give everything. If you use artificial intelligence without a solid strategy, you create noise. However, if you use artificial intelligence with a solid strategy, you'll achieve resonance. The difference? So,
And one final warning. AI is not fashion. Don't jump into it just because your competitors are or because it's hot on LinkedIn. Jump into it because you have a clear need, a clear strategy, a clear understanding of what emotional branding means to your customers and how AI can support that mission. Let AI be your co-pilot, but let humanity set the destination.
before we close, to help you decide if AI is an enemy or an ally for emotional branding, we invite you to follow these steps. What emotional challenges is your brand facing right now? What has worked and what hasn't in building real connection?
What AI tools are you currently using? Are they truly aligned with your brand values?
How might we balance efficiency with authentic connection? And how will you protect the human voice of your brand in a world of automation?
And finally, don't forget to connect with peers facing similar challenges in branding.
So in any presentation, it's important figures in order to support our ideas. So now we are going to leave you with two powerful stats. 88% of marketers say AI helps personalize the customer journey. That's good.
Yeah, but when AI is used alongside another emotional branding strategy, engagement triples. In other words, the magic happens when machine intelligence meets human soul.
So yes, your brand can absolutely stay human in the age of artificial intelligence, but only if you lead with purpose, listen with empathy.
And never forget, it is not the tech that defines your brand, it is the truth behind it. Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Thank you so much, Luis and Javier. It was an absolutely great presentation. As you can see, Luis and Javier help us to understand in a better way how the AI, it doesn't have to be especially the enemy for emotional branding. In fact, when you use it, artificial intelligence with a strategy and intention, it even becomes powerful. But it will never replace the human touch and the human creativity and emotional, especially in brands strategy, creating an impactful brand experience. Now let's open up a conversation. We have a few questions over here that
Okay,
comes out from our audience. So if we are all ready, we're gonna start with the first question. How can brands ensure that AI-driven interactions maintain a human emotional touch? I believe this is a question that everybody is expecting to be answered by you, Luis and Javier.
Yeah, I can answer that one.
Okay.
Well, the secret is, well, it's not a secret, not a secret anymore, because we've already said it in the presentation. You have to combine artificial intelligence with human oversight. You have to use emotional intelligent design and align the responses with the brand emotional voice. That's the key. That would be the answer for that question.
Okay. Do you have something else to add, Javier? We want to go on with the second question.
Okay.
Go with the second one.
Okay, let's go to the second one.
Okay, perfect. In what way might over-release on AI undermine a brand's emotional authenticity?
Okay, it can result in generic, robotic interactions, tone-deaf messaging that lacks genuine human understanding. This is the right answer for this question.
Yeah. Could you talk a little bit more about what happens when brands lose the emotional sense?
Yeah, well,
we lose the emotional, we lose the connection, the emotional connection of brands and audience. That is a lack of the communication, because the audience is not going to identify with the brands. Imagine, nowadays we receive a lot of messages. We are living in a crowded marketplace with a lot of messages. So that brands that have a special connection with the audience is going to be the ones that connect better than the brands that they have a cold message. So that's the idea of the emotional branding. So we have to avoid to overuse artificial intelligence to create a branding strategy. That's the important point for all this presentation.
Another question here. Do you believe AI can truly understand human emotions well enough to drive emotional branding? Or will it always need human oversight?
Well, I think I can answer that one. Now, you need always to have this human oversight, because AI can recognize emotional patterns, but it's only they can learn about these patterns and try to imitate them, but it's not a real emotion what the AI is expressing. So now it's essential to have this human oversight, to have this feeling of something human behind the artificial intelligence. In the future, I don't know, no one knows. A few years ago, nobody knew about artificial intelligence. But in the future, we don't know if artificial intelligence is going to be able to imitate emotions, learning from these patterns, or is it going, and then it is not going to be the human oversight needed, or it's going to have its own feelings. This could sound like science fiction, but Who knows what could happen? But right now, for sure, human oversight is necessary if you don't want to sound like a robot, if you want to match with your audiences, if you want your audiences to feel you as emotional, and you have to want to have these bonds between your brand and your brand audiences.
Yes, because audience are waiting to hear stories from the brands. So a machine can tell stories, but a story is crafted with emotions. And artificial intelligence nowadays just only copy emotions, but don't talk with emotions. That's one important point to consider about this question.
Yeah.
Next question. Do you think AI tools like chatbot and recommendations engines can ever feel human enough to carry a brand's emotional tone?
Well, as we've seen in the presentation,
Yeah.
they are already trying to sound, especially in chatbots used by health platforms. They learn from the human behavior, and these patterns are used in machine learning so they can express themselves, the artificial intelligence, as if they were humans, as if they have feelings. So yeah, the answer is yes. It's not they will, they are already looking like human, even if we know there are just bots. It's like, if sometimes when you are asking something to the artificial intelligence, you tend to say please or thank you, even though it's a machine what's behind, and that's because you are trying to feel that it's something human or something with feelings behind, where it's not. It's only a machine learning from your feelings and imitating them.
Yeah.
So this is being used by bots, with chatbots, and it's really helping people to interact with these chatbots in a more friendly way.
Should consumers be told when they are interacting with AI? What do you believe?
Absolutely, I think they should be
Yeah.
told.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
Any doubts about
any doubt about it,
this?
you have to know who are you talking with.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's really
It's the same in images or video footage that's been created using artificial intelligence. You have to say this has been created using artificial intelligence. Even in social networks, everywhere, you have to say it, because otherwise you would be not being true with your audience. So of course, even if you want to sound natural and sensitive, you have to say, but don't forget, I am a robot.
yes, absolutely. We have to be more meaningful and more open with everybody, with all the audience, especially the people who are buying our products, the people who is interested in our services and what we do.
Absolutely. And honesty is always key to success. If you are honest, then half of the way is already done.
Next question. How can creative teams and AI work together to shape brand storytelling without losing the emotional core?
Okay, so well, it's a little difficult because to tell a story is something with a long tradition, and tradition is part of the feelings. So you can use artificial intelligence to generate content, but not how to express that content. So the idea is we have to balance, and the way the machines learn how the human behave, this is going to be to move to the way that the artificial intelligence are writing a storytelling. So it's a little difficult, but we are in the process to use artificial intelligence to create storytelling. But don't forget, storytelling is an elder experience that is the first activity the humankind did when they wanted to communicate something. So there is a long story, and the machine learnings must to learn a lot in order to behave as I have just told, as a humankind.
Thank you. Do you think younger generations care more about emotional branding than older generations?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. And teaching branding in the university, when you discover the benefits of emotional branding, and when you talk with the young people that the brands behave like people, like humans, they realize that emotions are important to communicate, because then a brand is a mate that you have close to you. So if you can communicate in an emotional way, you are going to understand perfectly the demanding coming from the audience, and what the products can offer, or brands offer a different things to
But
the brands.
do you think this is more important for young people than for the rest?
I think it's more important for the young people, because emotional branding is very close to social media, where the young people connect with the brands in a different way. It's different from the people from my age, because we communicate in a different way. We receive the message from different media, and social media is a different way. This immediately you can connect. So if there are emotions, it's going to be easier for them to communicate with the brands, and the brands to communicate with the young people. This is my idea of that I have perceived from my classes with young people.
Yes, absolutely. Another question. It is possible to train AI to understand a brand's tone of voice. How you will do it?
Well, we are experts in emotional branding, and we are trying to learn nowadays how AI is interacting with emotional branding. But we are not experts in developing artificial intelligence. So for sure, somehow the experts are going to train the AI in how to work that way. For sure, the answer is I suppose. But honestly, I can talk from my experience as branding expert, and now affected by the artificial intelligence. But I can't give an answer about how artificial intelligence is going to develop in the future. So, we are not artificial intelligence developers.
Great, thank you, Luis. As you know, most of our audience, they have companies, and they are looking for also how to connect in a specific way, talking about B2B. And regarding to this, is emotional branding even relevant for B2B brands? What do you think?
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
No,
Emotional brands in general have different audiences and different types of audiences. In B2B, decisions are taken less emotionally, but also emotions are important. So if I have to establish a link with another company, probably the key point taking that decision is going to be more financial, in financial terms or whatever. But I have to be aware of how that brand is connecting emotionally with the other brands, because that's going probably it's not that important when taking my decision to link with that company between companies. But I need to know how this other brand is connecting with its audiences emotionally. I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly. But the thing is, not in taking the decision itself, but yes, it's important because that helps me to understand how that brand is going to evolve, how that brand behaves, all the things that are important and are really linked with emotional branding. So emotional branding is important for all the different type of relationship between brands, brand with customers, brand with other brands, companies with companies, but the importance of this relation is not the same always, but it's always important. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we reached out to the end of the session. Thank you everybody so much for joining us today. And a special thank you, of course, to Luis and Javier for such an insightful conversation, and the discussion also helped us to have a better understanding. I hope that this session brought to you on all the audience new ideas about how we can work better with technology in the interaction with creativity and emotional intelligence. And if you would like to see the discussion of today, this webinar, like I mentioned at the beginning, has been recorded, and you're gonna have it on your email in a few hours. So you can share it with your friends or any other colleagues who you can you might think that this information could be impactful. As always, we invite you to follow the Spain US Chamber of Commerce on our website. We're gonna have more activities like this, like those webinars and other activities. And also we have the YouTube channel, so stay tuned to be informed about our upcoming events and webinars. And thank you, everybody. We gonna see you later in another webinar.
Okay. So
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Gracias.
Bye. Thank you. Gracias.
Adios.
Adios.